So now we're going to move in. Roberto, can you turn on your video? Very good. So now we're going to move into the first segment, exploring what some folks are doing, learning by doing. So Roberto is an instructor for Project Production Institute, very active in the Institute, and the Senior VP of Technical Services at Strategic Project Solutions. So Roberto, I'll turn it over to you.
Excellent, Gary. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to facilitate this session. Today is about the exploration on PPM implementation. We're going to have a representative from two organizations, Petronas joining us from Malaysia, and PT Tripatra Engineers and Constructors, an EPC company operating in Indonesia. They both have actually shared with me where they're going to present today, and let me tell you, really listen to what they have to say. They have focused on implementing, doing proof of concepts, proof of value, different elements of project production management, and the application also of operation science. So I think it's going to be a very exciting half an hour as we move forward. We might even have a bit more time based on where we are now. And so in terms of the format for this session, just for everyone to be aware of this, we are going to go through both presentations, one after the other one, and then at the end, we are going to dedicate some time for questions and answers. I remind you to look at the bottom of your screen for the Q&A feature. Please use that throughout these two presentations if you have specific questions, and I will be taking these questions to the speakers in the Q&A section. All right, so let's get going with our first presentation today. It is from Petronas, so I invite Mr. Al-Azahary Sani to share a video and enable the microphone. Al, are you with us? Thank you, Al. How are you? Hello.
I'm fine. Is it okay?
Excellent. Can you hear me? It is okay. Yes, we can hear you and we can see you as well. So before we get going, let me thank you, Al, because you are connecting from Malaysia. It's really late for you, and we really appreciate. This is actually Petronas' second participation in the symposium. Petronas contributed with their journey, their story, last year in 2021 PPI Symposium, and it's really good to see you here again with the global community sharing your experience. So thank you for that. But let me tell you a bit more about Al very, very quickly. Al is the head of construction-based engineering team, part of the Petronas Project Management of the Future efforts. And remember this term, project management of the future, very related to what Gary just talked about. He has 17 years of working experience in oil and gas and petrochemical industry, including project delivery, plant maintenance, and operations. He's currently spearheading project production management, PPM implementation within Petronas projects, and is playing a key role in engaging Malaysia's oil and gas industry players, from engineering companies to EPC firms to suppliers, the entire oil and gas ecosystem in Malaysia. So that is by itself, Al, a pretty intense effort that you are leading from the Petronas side. He holds a bachelor's degree in electronics engineering and a master's degree in process plant management from University of Technology in Malaysia. So Al, once again, thank you. And I have, if you don't mind sharing your screen.
Yeah,
so we can make sure we're ready to go.
All right. Can you see it?
Yes. So it is over to you, Al, and I will reconnect in a few minutes. Thank you. Over to you.
Right. Thank you very much, Roberto. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whatever you do. Thank you for the introduction, Roberto. I'm Al-Azahary from Petronas. Today I'm going to share our PPM implementation journey, and a little bit updates from what we presented last year, since we entering our second year of adoption in project production management. All right. So Petronas, as we mentioned by Roberto, and even in previous presentation, we also mentioned about the initiation of project management of the future. It is something that we do consciously to focus on techno-digital transformation towards the realization of project digital control tower. And it consists of four separate parts that works together, which is the first project delivery digital ecosystem, which taking care of the software part, digital backbone, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and others. The second is smart project site that focus on adoption of robotics, smart devices, drones, smart helmet, and many others, IoTs. The third part, which I am leading currently, is called construction-based engineering, which the focus is to adopt industry best practice methodology, because we are fully aware that even with the technology in terms of hardware and software, without proper methodology, then we won't be able to really create the value from the techno-digital transformation. There's a fourth part, which is DFG, the disruptive for growth, which focus on industry collaboration, standardization, and looking on what other step change enhancement that we see from the global project delivery environment. Right? So the intention or the objective of establishment of project digital control tower is actually to ensure that we really can be a data-driven organization, data-driven decision-making, to ensure that our project delivery can run smoothly, to get ready for the challenges, for the exciting future that we see, required us to be more effective in future regarding decarbonization and others, as mentioned by Gary just now. We are fully aware that we cannot do this alone as an owner-operator organization. We need to get our contractor, our partners to embark the journey together with us, so that we initiated the joint industry collaboration for advanced wet packaging and project production management in Malaysia oil and gas ecosystem. Right? This is our second year. We kicked off May last year. It is very exciting to collaborate closely with a lot of friends from our EPC contractors, from engineering consultants, as well as our solution providers, right? To actually collaboratively adopt, right? This is collaborative adoption of the global best practices. Right? We already see that most of the member companies already started to embark AWP and PPM adoption journey. Very positive progress, which is currently being tracked by us at the GIC task force. And this is the avenue for us to have healthy and open discussion, understanding each other and bridging commitment between owner, contractor, social providers, so that we can really work in sync. We can really optimize and leverage from the strength of each other, right? And progress together to be better for the benefit of the whole ecosystem. And going to the second year, we are progressing from proof of concept, which we presented last year, we have convinced that project production management is, in terms of concept, really works. But we now want to see where's the value. We have started to scale up our implementation of PPM in pilot projects. First year, about 10 projects in a year, right? Now we are talking about more than 15, about 17 in specific projects that start to commence PPM in various stages. Yeah, these are some of the success stories we already captured from 2 of the projects that we implement PPM, right? Where we see 6% of productivity increase in terms of flow productivity, right? For an offshore platform jacket fabrication, right? Where we implemented both PSO and PPC. I will be sharing more detail and focusing on this specific case study in later slides. And we also see schedule acceleration in our hookup campaign project, right? It's a very basically tight schedule, right? And a lot of challenges in terms of logistics and whatnot. But still, instead of getting dragged away or getting the schedule to further delay, right? We managed to accelerate and prevent from delay about 11 days, and we see the scale up potential from this, at least these 2 projects and others, right? About 5 to 10% cost and time saving, that is where we are now seeing the value, at least for it with regards to the capex value. But definitely more important is the impact to the operations, to the business, when we have a better predictability, a better reliability of project delivery, right? That will directly impact to profitability of our company. All right, so this is the case we sharing more detail on our journey, focusing on the new offshore platform fabrication project that we did, right? Starting 2021, starting with the discovery. It takes actually a lot of effort to explore, to create understanding, to engage. Starting with our own internal Petronas project management team, right? We're doing without independent from our partners initially, right? Until we understand and we complete the production system optimization, right? Once we have the recommendation, we see that this is the model which really represents the actual project at site, and we start to engage our partner, right? It's not an easy task actually. We had, if you can see, there are various stages of meetings that we had, multiple level of engagement, until in the end we get the access down to the subcontractor level in our PPC implementation. So it begins with the production system optimization. We did the model, detail model for the CPP jacket fabrication, right? As you can see, it takes a lot of effort for us to develop this together with strategic project solutions, right? And this is actually the view, the what we call the turning point for us to be able to see how actually a project can be turned into a production system. Right. And from the analysis of production system optimization, PSO, these are some of the key insights that the team should focus, which is recommendation from the PSO analysis, right? It indicates the election schedule would face constraints to meet the desired completion milestone, right? Yes, PMT might be already having this sense of feeling that they would not be able to complete the project by time, but PSO analysis further strengthened this finding based on data. And the analysis provided a breakdown of when capacity constraint would occur for each bottleneck resource into CPP jacket primary subcomponents. Means we can focus on specific craft, specific workers, and specific time for us to optimize and do appropriate mitigations. And furthermore, this application identified subcomponent where to focus within the production, the different production system within in the project, which is indicated the buoyancy tanks and panel assembly. And we went to focus more on the buoyancy tanks application. We proceed with the project production control for this specific scope. This is when where the actual work happened on site, the actual engagement with the real people who makes the difference, getting much closer to the works through daily production planning session, properly planning, scheduling, planning, tracking of the execution, as well as doing continuous improvement based on the analytics. It is actually quite challenging for us to change the perspective from the left side, which is a manual way of working that we are currently practicing in our project delivery mainly, right? To turn into a digital database, data-driven, connected production system that we see in the PSO model, as well as during that we utilize to help us in scheduling during production control. And what the analytics that we get is a conscious decision and data-driven decision, which leads to actionable insights from milestone forecast trends. We see clearly where the LRM, right, going either south or north, right, positive or negative, so that the focus in this case, the buoyancy tank is, there are actually 7 buoyancy tanks. Which one that we should focus, which to ensure that the overall project gets progressing well together, right? Apart from other available analytics we get from the PPC. And these are key learnings. These are reflections, real reflections by the project team themselves. So the team experienced how generating work process by those responsible for the work identifies and visualizes scope complexity. It is often not captured by existing forecast. Actually, it's not captured. It's not visible through conventional project Gantt chart mapping. Right? And in controlling work at the execution level, the project team was able to identify prevailing sources of variability impacting each of the contractor work groups and scope types through the analysis of reason summaries. And the team proactively identifies upcoming capacity bottlenecks contextualize the potential value of data-driven LRM resource assignment during periods of limited capacity. And fourth, by shifting daily production planning responsibilities to contractor personnel, because initially we try to handhold, right, the contractor personnel, the subcontractor even. Once they get the idea of how to pursue with the PPC, right? The contractor personnel directly responsible for the day-to-day assignment of capacity. We unlock the understanding of varying levels of capability development required by different project stakeholders to implement a broad PPC deployment successfully. And what we learn, the project team learn, it is possible for us to deploy PPC to large-scale fabrication production in projects, and by doing so, augment the existing practices of any major contractor. And this is the conclusion and key outcome from overall PPM implementation from various projects, the multiple concurrent projects that we do, our pilot implementation. The first, PPM framework and system has supported the continuous improvement work culture. This is very important for us to ensure that the mindset of our project people, right, continuously try to do better things and challenge the norm. It's execution through production-based analytics. And second, by implementing PPM, the PMT has improved intervention and collaboration with contractors by getting closer to the work. We are understanding our contractor better. What are their constraints and how our action or inaction will affect the whole production system. The third, PPM can be implemented on ongoing construction projects with minimum interruption to working teams. Yes, it is with proper strategy, it is possible to do this. Fourth, improve construction progress monitoring by daily tracking and ability to create data analytics with specify the reason delay, which is the variety, such as lack of manpower, machine breakdown, weather constraint, etc. And fifth, which is the final point in my presentation today, full PPM deployment requires closer collaboration and understanding with contractor to scale up into maximum potential, making the partnership really effective, really bring value to the overall project performance. And that's all my sharing for today. It has been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure for me to be presenting in this symposium again this year. Thank you very much for PPI, SPS technical supports, especially Mr. Roberto. And I pass back to you, Roberto. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Al, for being able to, in a very open way, share your story and all of those details. That's pretty impressive. We're going to come back to you in a few more minutes and with some questions and answers. And so I just ask you please to turn off your video and your microphone. And once again, thank you very much for the journey, Al. So it is now my pleasure to introduce our second presenter. So we ask Mr. Pak Andro Hudabarat from PT Tripatra Engineers and Constructors to share video and audio. We have with Andro, you're with us. Thank you. Great. So you might just, okay, great. Thank you. And so I just want to say a couple of things because Tripatra has been and is not only one of the most important contractors, EPC contractors in Indonesia and that region of the world, but they have been also at the front of innovation and exploring always new methodologies and how they can improve their internal practices, and they can do a better job for the customer. So, and it has been an interesting, I would say, journey as well, and for us to watch you do it over time, right? And so you're joining us from Jakarta. It's also late for you, and really thank you for accommodating the timing today. And you're going to share with us your story and some details of what you have been doing, are currently doing, and planning to do. But for our audience, let me say more about Andro and his professional background very, very quickly. Pak Andro is the head of continuous improvement for PT Tripatra engineers and constructors, working closely with Tripatra's CEO and other executives in their internal transformation to become a company that focuses on the new era of project delivery. He's currently heavily involved in the adoption of PPM. It applied to engineering and also other components of project delivery like procurement processes and construction. During the 6 years he's a member of the Tripatra team, probably even more than 6 years, he has been in several positions, including the heads of sales and commercial, head of transformation. He has been a project director, just to name a few. He holds a bachelor degree in civil engineering from Maranatha Christian University, I hope I pronounced that correctly, in Indonesia, and a master's degree in strategic management and business from IPV University, also in Indonesia. So Andro, once again, thank you for being with us today. Very excited to hear about what you have for us today. And if you don't mind sharing your screen. As he does that, we remind everyone to use the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen in case you have questions for Andro. And once he finishes his presentation, once again, we will go through a Q&A with both Al and Andro. Over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Roberto. Again, good evening from Indonesia. Good morning, good afternoon to everyone who's joining this symposium today. We're actually so happy to be back here. We participated in the last 7 symposium, I think, as well as the production forum, which held on March this year. So happy to be back, and do contact us, do search for us, Tripatra, as well as if you have anything to follow up after the session, we'll be happy to discuss more. So a little bit background about Tripatra, just to echo what Roberto was just saying, that Tripatra is an engineering and EPC contractor from Indonesia, and we established in '73, and predominantly we are providing services in engineering, project construction and management, supply chains management, as well as the asset management, doing the usual works that normally happens in the project delivery. And with the ever-changing world and the market, as well as the global economies, we are setting up a new direction again to focus and to clean up our path to a better, to engineer a sustainable solution that transform energy and accelerate downstream. So we have been very close, let's say like that, to the implementation of PPM as a concept and methodology. We start very early in the first quarter of 2019 until today. And most of our projects, we adopt and we implement the methodology of PPM, and still some ongoing project is happening, whether it is engineering, an EPCM project, as well as an NEPC project on an energy industry predominantly. So one of the spectrum of PPM with the project production control is the first step that we landed on these PPM concepts, and ever since that, actually we are able to see that the needs for us, the habits for us, the necessity for us to control the activity is actually feed up to this platform of this PPM. That's why we see that a lot of things happen when we deliver a project that are able being closed, the gap are being closed with this concept of this PPM through this PPC. Normally on the work stream, on the work steps, it's more to a people knowledge, more to the invisible process steps of the project execution, which now are being able to typically map. And more interesting, it was being able to adjust and tailor to the project needs. That's something very interesting that we found. And we saw there is also a lot of repetitive meetings, redundant, that cause a lot of waste of times and effort as well. And by aligning this cadence with the normal project cadence, actually we are able to reduce the effort and specifically able to avoid redundant meetings, but still yet to find an efficient and effective one. One of the main killer in this hurdle is actually variability that we saw, something that we cannot be eliminated, of course, but to be able to have that constraint early in the beginning is actually one of the value that we saw that we're able to close. And with that, we are able to prepare the executable tasks as well as the mitigation. We also try to innovate and try to explore what are the better ways also to be combined with this methodology. One of them is agile. We saw that this delivery of the project consists of different disciplines, different people, different departments with several backgrounds. So the needs of collaboration is really, really imminent in this project execution. So combining that with the agile habits actually put the last puzzle that in any workflow, in any process, a retrospective to help us better, to help us iterative is actually one of the important things. And by doing that, combining with the agile, we saw a lot of improvement, we saw a lot of value that we can realize in implementing this PPC. As you may see that we also embarking on the digital as well as the like the normal industry have. So we also build our own platform. We build our own digital control tower as well as a live project management system. We did this by combining several enabler of tools and software that becoming the way that we are executing works. You might see some familiar name as well as the SPS. So by using this source of data and providing us the analytics, we can see that we are able to see what's actually happening, and we are able to execute this as a guidance. On one of the main and the standard analysis that we have, normally the commitment reliability, this is just one of example of our engineering project. We saw that there's a good numbers of commitment reliability, almost reached 90%, as well as the productivity trend that keep rising up. So the uses of this PPC combining with the data analytics, either from the SPS as well and as the digital control tower from our end, actually enable us to see transparently and accurately how actually our performance, and this has become the enabler for us in executing the project in real time. Apart from the engineering, we also implement this in our construction phase as part of the EPC project. And the beauty of it, actually, we also think that this PPC concept is not something that are, let's say, plug and play. You are being challenged and being able to find the best yet executable, but is optimum, that tailor to the specific project condition as well as your needs. So this is just one other example of our EPC project. And in this picture, you might see that how is our team with all of the contractors trying to do the production scheduling as well as the production planning. And we try to combine the normal way that we did during the scheduling and defining the sequence as well as the constructability plan. and throw it back to the methods of the production scheduling that enable us to see the 2 weeks look ahead of what TBTS works and control it with the production plan on a daily session on the project side. And through the tools, through the PPC, we are enabled to see all of the data flowing and to control the activity. This has been working well so far for us, but we still saw how we're going to find out the best way on the other projects and tailor to the needs. On the other hand, one of the spectrum that also we are a little bit different from our previous friend, Petronas. We start first with PPC, and then we continue that with the production system optimization, PSO, as you may see. This is also helping us to enable us to have the optimal batching strategy analysis. So one of the PSO analysis that we did for our EPC project actually enable us to have the transparent, and we are able to see how actually our chance to meet the target completion of the equipment installation and piping installation on a certain day. And by putting this strategy of optimal batching and control it by weekly as well as daily, we actually able to open enough piping work fronts and satisfy the FRED's working process levels. And better yet, we also able to assign the optimum capacity to enable us to do the equipment piping works as scheduled. This is just an example from our current project, and it's been helping us to enable us to have the best strategy to fit the works and the schedule. But yet we saw that over the 4 years journey of our PPM, we still see that a lot of things need to be improved as well. And this is a challenge as well for us. When I say that we don't have a plug and play concept, that's also one thing that we like, that enable us to see how more that we can improve, how more that we can find a best solution. So through our retrospective in Agile, through all over our projects, we summarize the typical things that went well on the way we execute this PPM. The normal way is the cross-function coordination is better, and as previously said, that we are able to have the early and high awareness of how we manage constraint and variability. And the capacity sharing of people and deliverable assignment is also now become better. That's working well for us. Plus also how we're gonna be prioritize any task based on the current dynamic condition. And this is also meaning how we conveniently track that transparently all over the people. So this is actually one of the big value that we saw that derive from how the data exchange between discipline flow out. So this system of digital also helping us to saw that. So this is most of the value that being felt and realized on most of our projects. However, we also see that it is not that easy that for all of the people to improve or to implement this PPM. We saw that the leadership involvement, especially on the project management leadership, is something that are very, very imminent to have. And as well, this is one of the big challenges, how we integrate this business process with the conventional project controls. I like what Gary said in the beginning, that it is a necessity that we need to look how we execute projects differently. And for us that are very, very concerned and very, very, let's say, have a special attention on activity and data, the man hours data, the dynamic data that we derive from PPM is actually one of the input that we have for enable us to build a better schedule, a dynamic data that I think still have a lot of value left that can be able to fertilize and help our project delivery better. And lastly, I think we also on the opinion that our works, our industry need to show how we works and how we try something differently. And through our collaboration with Petronas our friend Al over the last year, we actually try to find how is actually be mutual benefit between two companies, which is the client and the contractor, in executing the project. As you may see in the screen, we try to map actually how the work process flow on one production system between contractors and client. We are able to see transparently how the work's flowing, and better yet, if we execute it daily, we are also able to see where actually the gap, where is actually the bottleneck happening. This standard process of client and contractor, like Petronas says, actually bring us closer and hopefully able to realize maximum share benefit between two parties. And the transparency of the WIP between client and contractor, and you will able to see that. And finally, the last that I want to say is, it is possible, and hopefully is able, sometimes this industry able to see how this project delivery using PPM as a single methodology of the production management system. Lastly, that's all from my presentation. And as we say in Bahasa, terima kasih. Back to you, Robert.
Thank you so much, Pak Andro. And we invite Mr. Al-Azahary Sani to share video and audio for the Q&A section. We do have actually just a couple of minutes to before we get into the next section. So maybe we can quickly touch on two questions. The first one seems to be for you, Al, that we're seeing actually several questions, but once again, we're not going to have time to do that. The first question for Al. So what challenges do you encounter getting closer to the work, which is what you mentioned, I think, very clearly, with your contractors, right? Did they feel you were interfering? So that's a question for you, Al, as an owner operator. Any input?
Yeah, it is the trust, right? So we are still so much in a way divided, right? We have a clear, we draw a clear line between the owner and contractor, which actually limit our potential, right? So by getting closer to the work, understanding each other's constraint, understanding how we can help each other to actually deliver better, right? That, yes, first we need to build the trust, to break the barriers between owner and contractors, which is not easy. That's one of the key challenge. We take months actually to with continuous engagement to gain a better trust level until our contractor, based on their previous experience, maybe they have built some perspective of maybe the owner have different intention, while in the end they realize that we just want them to be better, right? We don't have any hidden agenda.
Yes.
That's why I will answer.
Yes, and I think you guys have been, Petronas, I mean, have been very open, very clear about the direction you're following, right? And I think from a Tripatra perspective, being an EPC, you also have subcontractors, for instance, when you do the work, right? And so perhaps you can give us your perspective, Andro. Same question for you, but obviously within the remit of your business, right? How has been the interaction between Tripatra and any of the subcontractors, even in engineering or construction?
Right, thank you, Roberto. So as you may see in my previous slide that was talking about our PPC in construction, actually we are also trying to as much as possible involve them in our production, right? Because we actually believe that we are in the same platform of production, right? So on the scheduling, we are actually involving them directly and discuss on the activity. For now, we are actually talking about a minimum interval of 2 weeks, where on every daily, on the afternoon 4 p.m., we actually ask them also to have a session with us, which is the production planning, controlling, and actually updating how the work is flowing. So by this session, actually, we are also able to see on an overarching view how we actually the interaction between different subcontractors, right? So it's actually one thing that's still ongoing, and we are still also find another best solution how to integrate it, because for us, for subcontractors to be able to use the PPC directly and involve in the data input is something that we need also sometimes to do that, to be honest with you. But enabling them to be involved directly in the production with us in the scheduling is actually a very, very new and a good session for us, right? And this is how far that we go now with our subcontractors. And further, our plan is to be able to involve them directly on the tools. This will give us a real-time execution, and actually it will be more efficient on timing as well. So I think a lot of journey yet to be found in the future, Roberto, but I think we are aiming on the right direction to that.
Excellent, Andrew. So look, unfortunately, we're running out of time. We need to move to the next section. We're going to pass to you some questions we're getting. And I see some questions related to AWP and PPM. And for those that are asking those questions, I encourage you to stay for the 11 o'clock Central Time session, where this topic is going to be discussed in much greater detail. But it was very, very encouraging to see from both Petronas and Tripatra what you have achieved, right? Reduction in cost, reduction in time, impact to what you do as a business, completely separate businesses. And also, and I finish with this, the synergies that you shared at the very last of your presentation, Andrew, between Petronas and Tripatra in that region. So we wish you guys the best, and on behalf of the Project Production Institute, thank you very, very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Roberto.
We look forward to collaboration as we move into 2023. Thank you.